Hello everyone and welcome back to another PSGL highlights video. So yeah, I'm not quite sure what round it is, but we're at Austria. After a good race in the end at Silverstone, I can confirm that we didn't get any post-race penalty. So we did end up P4, which was a strong finish after qualifying P14 due to the mishap with the timing really. So yeah, we arrive at the Red Bull Ring, where the one lap pace wasn't looking too great, but the race pace seemed alright. The setup seemed to be more suited to the race. So yeah.
Why is it wet?
As again qualifying was wet, which was not ideal. As Red Bull Ring, I didn't expect it to be wet, or I hadn't done a lot of wet practice. So yeah, again probably a mistake on my half. But we just have to make the best of it. We just have to try and see what we can do. I was a bit sceptical about it being dry towards the end of the session, so yeah, I had that in the back of my mind, especially after Silverstone. So yeah, we went out and we done a couple of inters lap, as you can see a 13.1, which was okay, still quite a way off the pace. So yeah, just every lap finding pace, just improving bit by bit. So yeah, I think this was possibly the fastest inter times that I've done. So yeah, as you can see, coming through this corner I just broke far too early on the previous run, and yeah, we're almost over 8 tenths up. So yeah, every lap we were improving. It was just about trying to carry that and not invalidating, which was quite easy in the dry around this track. It's quite notorious for track limits. So yeah, the lap itself, this lap wasn't too bad. Obviously a few mistakes here and there, but like I said, we hadn't practiced the wet, so that was to be expected, just running wide, etc. Overall it wasn't the worst lap in the world. So I think it does put us just inside the top 10 by the end of it, but it was nothing special. As you can see in 11.2, I think we're still quite a way away from that. So the last sector we were quite cautious, obviously wary of invalidating the lap. So yeah, it was a 12.0 as kart racer puts in an 11.0, so a second off the pace. But as you can see, towards the end of the session it was drying up considerably. And it did say 5 seconds slower, but I would still felt like we should chance on the softs. So I clicked the softs, and I was realising we were running out of time, so I didn't choose to put the fuel load down. So I just clicked go, and I accidentally clicked switch to recommended compound, which is the intermediates. So yeah, I kind of killed the whole dry tyre thing, which was a big mistake on my half.
I think I've just selected
so we are going to go out on a fresh set of inters at the end of the session, but as you can see, it is quite dry. Apologies for the small freezes here and there. Again, that's just due to the stream lagging, but hopefully next video that shouldn't be an issue. I'm going to try and fix some settings and try and make it a little bit better. So yeah, as you can see, a car just spun in front of us coming to the pits. People are just trying to push, because it is a lot drier than what it was at the start of the session. So I feel like on this lap it probably could have been beneficial to be on the softs, but coming through turn 1, just pushing a little bit too hard and completely missing turn 1 and hitting the bump on the outside. So yeah, this lap was already kind of ruined, which was very unfortunate, as it was probably our best chance of getting a good time in. But we decided to push on because I felt like there was so much time in the track, and the track had evolved a lot. So yeah, despite having an awful first sector, we're still only 3 tenths down and gaining time. So yeah, it just makes me think, like, if we were on softs, maybe we could have been even quicker, or even if we just hadn't messed up turn 1, which was yeah quite unfortunate. But yeah, like I said, another mistake on my half. But yeah, coming through the lap, still gaining time. So as you can see, the track has got a lot better, but just coming through the left hander, pushing a little bit too much, and we'd spun. And unfortunately I had hit Zach and I'd ruined his lap, so I did apologise to him after. But yeah, and just another poor qualifying session, just another mistake. But as you can see, most people had done everyone had done their fastest time on inters, so it makes you think if we had gone on sauce, whether they had been quicker, maybe we could have been for a rare pole position chance. But yeah, coming to the 5 lights, and it's lights out, and we're starting in 15th, which was again not in a great position, and everyone's on the same pretty much strategy, all on the mediums. But we got a decent start, and we managed to get around the outside of Ray Smith. And it was key to try and get past the Haas, who was on the hard tyres, because I didn't want to get stuck behind someone on a slower tyre. So we tried to go around the outside into turn 3. There was an Alpha on the inside, which made it 3 wide, which was obviously a bit difficult.
I'm not surprised, Matt.
But yeah, now I think we've got past the Haas, and we're side by side with the Red Bull and the Alpha. Tried to go around the outside. I think someone was on the inside. Apologies for the lag, but yeah. We managed to get through somehow safely. I was surprised we didn't pick up some light front wing damage, but yeah, we managed to get around safely, and somehow we've only gained 1 position, but main thing was not avoiding damage, and it was a decent start overall. Trying to get past the Alpha, but 36 lap race, so I think we could just sit back a little bit, and I was trying to make a few places in the first 3 laps before DRS was enabled, because I knew it was just going to be a DRS train. But yeah, at the same time we do need to remind ourselves it's a long race. So I think a few people had made a few mistakes, spun out or crashed, so we had gained a few positions, and we ran a little bit wide through the last corner and picking up our first warning. Penalties are quite common now in Austria, so I was expecting a lot of drivers to pick up penalties, but sliding through turn 1, the Alfa Romeo had overtaken AlphaTauri, so yeah, trying to save ERS at the same time whilst also trying to make up positions is quite difficult around this track, because obviously wanting to keep your charge high, but at the same time, in order to make it overtake, you pretty much have to dump your whole battery, which is what I was trying to do here, but I realised the move wasn't really on. But we get up the inside, and we managed to brake quite late and made quite a decent move on Alfa Romeo. Thankfully he didn't just turn in on us, so yeah, it was quite unexpected, but yeah, an important move to make as he tries to come back up the inside on the left-hander, but yeah, we're able to hold it. So up into 11th, from 15th, quite a decent start as the Alpine of Zach has spun. So we're into the top 10 after 5 laps, so quite a good start, as our TRT teammate Smalley, who's I believe at the front, has disconnected, so quite unfortunate for him, but it might be another position for us. So yeah, we're obviously trying to remain, pretty much trying to stay in the train without dropping position, so I was trying to use a little bit of ERS to stay ahead of the Alpha, and maybe try and get a move on AlphaTauri ahead. But yeah, a good start so far, fairly clean. Obviously the 1 track limit warning as we run it a little bit deep into turn 3, but yeah, quite a decent start after the first 6 laps, and cutting on to lap 7, Smalley's disconnected car was just ahead. So yeah, everyone's pretty much just making a position up on him, which is quite sad for him, as he's had a really good start to the championship. I think he's third in the championship, quite a few good results, a few podiums. So yeah, unfortunate for him, but it's a free position for us, I guess. So yeah, just again trying to stay in the DRS. I had struggled, I think, for the last lap or so I had to use a bit of ERS just to make sure I was still within the second. But yeah, at this point I was trying to save a little bit, but at the same time, as you can see, NSX barrels off, so it is a small track, but it's a track to make quite a few easy to make mistakes at, so trying to keep it clean and just like cautious, I guess, in some sort. So a virtual safety car came out and just allowed us to kind of save some ERS, and we got quite good timing on the restart, so we were able to stay close and maybe even gained a couple tenths out of it. So yeah, pretty much just back to where we were. It's just a DRS train. We were looking to try and make up 1 or 2 places, because I did feel like I had the pace maybe over the 2 cars ahead, because just generally in the rounds, so and the rounds coming up to this, I have felt like I've had the pace on these guys, so I was hoping it'd be the same around this track. But yeah, with the DRS it's quite hard to make a overtake, as we get quite a lot of oversteer through turn 3. So yeah, we dropped a little bit behind, which was not ideal, but we just pretty much just staying in the DRS, and obviously if guys ahead squabble or someone makes a mistake, that's pretty much the way to gain a position, unless you have a really good run on someone. So yeah, the first 9 laps have been quite good so far. Just about trying to carry that on. Using a little bit of ERS just to catch back up, and I was possibly trying to break DRS as well to the Alpha behind, but we weren't quite able to. 30% on lap 12, which is maybe a little bit less than what I had hoped for, but we got a good run out of turn 1. Most laps we did actually get a better run than I think other drivers. I think traction in the set was quite decent, other than turn 3 really, but we get up the inside of the AlphaTauri. He leaves just about a car's width on the inside. We were quite far back, but thankfully he did leave quite a bit of room and we didn't outbrake ourselves, so yeah, quite a good move and a key move to make for the rest of the race, because we didn't want to just be stuck behind him. And now we can obviously low on charge, but hopefully we can save a little bit behind Game Freaker. I had hoped that we'd have a little bit more, because obviously if you overtake with that little ERS, someone can just get you back, but yeah, I was kind of hoping that we might just have enough to stay ahead, but it didn't seem likely, to be honest. Under 10%, we had very little power, and AlphaTauri probably has more behind us, so whilst we had made the overtake, I was kind of expecting to be re-overtaken, despite obviously that was what I was really trying to avoid. Coming through turn 1, we ran just a little bit wide, and AlphaTauri, I think, yeah, he's willing to use up the charge that he has, and yeah, I knew this was going to cost us time, so I was really trying to prevent it from happening, but once he was alongside there wasn't much I could do, so yeah, he re-overtakes us in the same place that we overtook him. I chose not to use the ERS I had. I was like, if we do, he's just going to re-overtake us the following lap and it's just going to continue to cost us time, so we tucked back in behind him, and I just decided probably here is the best place to save. I was trying to get into the top 5 and then save, but yeah, as you can see, a few cars coming into the pits. I believe there was a Lipolator who was on the softs. I think he was one of only 2 cars just on the softs, as we did have free tyre choice due to wet qualifying. So yeah, I think it did work in the first stint for him. Obviously he didn't break away from the medium runners, but he was able to stick with them. So yeah, into P5 now on lap 16. The first stint's gone quite well so far. We just need to try and remain in the DRS to the front guys and see what we can do. As we get a good exit off turn 3, small moment of oversteer, but we're alongside the AlphaTauri now. Got a decent amount of ERS now, and we're going to get up the inside pretty slightly later than him and get to the apex. He does remain alongside, and thankfully he does, I believe. No, he doesn't tuck back in, he keeps up the inside, and we hold it around the outside, and he actually keeps the position, which was, yeah, a bit frustrating obviously considering we had used our ERS, and we pick up a track limits warning on the outside, which was quite frustrating as it didn't really gain us any time, but I guess we did exceed the track. It's just quite frustrating, you know.
I hate this game. It's such a bad game.
As Biju picks up a 3-second time penalty on the outside there of the last corner. So yeah, into the top 4. I think maybe one other person had pit possibly, as Smalley gets up the inside of us. I was quite keen on trying to remain ahead. I knew he probably was a little bit quicker, but like I said, it's DRS trains around here, so track position is key. So I did keep up the inside, which in hindsight maybe wasn't the greatest idea, as he was probably quicker, and this is just costing us time. As I clip that auto spin kerb, that kerb is deadly, as you'll see. As I think the front 3 are all coming to pits, as the Alfa Romeo Game Freak actually clips the inside kerb and spins, as the kerbs around here are quite deadly, and in general in this game the kerbs are quite lethal at most tracks. So yeah, we're going to stay out, try and perform some sort of an overcut, or just try and not get undercut, but I don't think this was the right decision, to be honest. We get overtaken by Smalley, which was I wasn't too fussed about, but the issue was Mats came up the inside, and this is going to cost us time as we're going into a corner and those guys are going to be on fresh mediums, and we get a huge moment of oversteer behind. So yeah, that in lap was quite a slow lap, to be honest, and I had a feeling that that was going to cost us a lot of time to the guys who'd pit as we come into the pits to put on the soft tyres. The first stint had gone quite well up until perhaps the last couple laps, but overall it was a good stint. I think we'd made up a lot of positions and we'd kept it fairly clean as well. So coming at the pits, I was quite wary as there's a small bump through this right hander that can, you know, caused some issues, but we get out of the pits and we are somehow 2.5 seconds behind Smalley, which I don't think we'd lost actually, but we'd lost DRS, which was a huge moment in the race as we pick up a 3-second time penalty. Losing DRS was, I knew that was kind of going to be the end of our race really. We really needed to be in DRS. I was hoping that the guys ahead might fight, but it seemed like on the softs we were struggling a little bit for pace. I don't know if it was just because there's a complete change of grip and we hadn't just adjusted to it or whatever, but yeah, we were struggling a little bit for pace. And yeah, Matt's having DRS behind us was just able to save all his battery, and then when he probably had got a full amount of battery, could just overtake us, and we had nothing to defend with us. We couldn't save really. We had nothing to save off of. So yeah, Mats gets us, and I was just thinking about staying in his DRS now and pretty much doing what he was doing to us, trying to save our battery, and hopefully maybe the guys ahead do battle and we can get back in their DRS, but it was seeming quite unlikely. So yeah, I was just pretty much trying to save ERS now and hoping that the guys ahead battle so we can get back into their DRS. But yeah, this was probably where our race was a little bit, I'd say, boring and falling apart as we clipped the inside curb, and yeah, another spin, 2 races in a row. It's going to cost us massively. So we dropped 5 seconds there. We dropped a place to Game Freaker and dropped 5 seconds behind Mats, which was yeah, pretty much a huge mistake. And we pick up another track limits warning. So yeah, the race is quite quickly kind of gone into the bin. But yeah, we still try and continue. There's still points to be had. So as we pick up another warning, and that's like 6 seconds worth of penalties, which is quite bad considering the start of the race was quite clean. But yeah, we're still in Game Freaker's DRS, and I was hopeful that he might pick up another pen. So yeah, we can just try. He's low on ERS, he's got less than 10% as his battery's flashing. We haven't got a huge amount ourselves, to be fair, so we run it quite deep into turn 3. But we have got a little bit more than him, and I did feel like our pace was probably on par with his, so if we could get ahead maybe we could stay ahead, but I chose not to use an ERS and he had DRS, so he was able to try and get us back, but he does just tuck in behind us. As yeah, so it's lap 27. We are 4 seconds adrift of Mats, who doesn't have a single pen, so it was, I don't think we were going to get much more than 8th in this race. So trying to use a little bit of ERS to remain ahead of Game Freaker. But yeah, I think it was lap 29, he did a couple laps to save, and he managed to re-overtake us as he did just kind of cross into our line, and we pick up another warning, which gives us 9 seconds of penalties. I don't know quite what happened there. I think if you do watch it back, Game Freaker did just kind of turn in across our line, but I've raced with Game Freaker for a while now and I wasn't going to report him. I just think it was a small mistake on his half, and perhaps we did maybe steer into him a little bit, but I think it was mostly on him, and he did kind of apologise after the race. So as we get a huge slide through turn 1, and Zach, I believe, also has a huge slide, so yeah, yeah, we managed to stay ahead. I think we would have lost the place had he not got that huge slide. But yeah, the last few laps were quite tough, I can't lie. I was just trying to remain concentrated, trying to remain focused after a potentially very good result kind of just fell away from us. Ever since just after the pit stop, it felt like the race kind of fell away from us. But yeah, like I said, points are still to be had, so it was just about trying to remain composed. I was fairly sure I could get that final warning removed, so we won't have 9 seconds, we should just have 6, as long as we don't pick up another warning. So like I said, Zach or Game Freaker could pick up another penalty themselves, so I was just trying to catch up to Game Freaker again, potentially maybe use Zach, as I know he is quite quick, so I was maybe hoping that he would overtake and we could use him to catch back up to Game Freaker. So yeah, he makes the move into turn 1. Yeah, it was just about in these last couple laps trying to sit behind him. I think he was expecting me to try and re-overtake, so he was trying to prevent that with a couple moves down the straight, but yeah, I wasn't planning on re-overtaking him, especially with the penalty situation, as him and Game Freaker had 1 less than me. As I said, we don't really have 9, I don't think. So yeah, coming into the last lap, Zach had overtaken Game Freaker and he runs wide through turn 1. I was hoping that would be another warning so he could get 6, but it wasn't. But I was still trying to get past him because there's a chance in the rest lap he could get one as we get up the inside. As his teammate's off, I'm not sure if he got a puncture, if he'd ran out of fuel. I think it was a fuel thing for Mats, so that's a free position. We didn't manage to get past Game Freaker, which was unfortunate. But yeah, it was just as you can see, Zach and Game Freaker didn't pick up any more penalties, so I think we were kind of just going to finish in 9th. But thankfully we picked up a position on Mats, which is unfortunate for him. I think he'd ran out of fuel, he just misjudged it. But yeah, coming through the last couple corners now, just behind Game Freaker, you will see through the last 2 corners, I don't know if it's the penultimate or the last. Yeah, he picks up 6 seconds, so if we had got past him on the last lap, we would have had his position.
Oh, Game Freaker got
so
6.
yeah, that was quite gutting, knowing that we could have got 7th. But
that's why I wanted to send it on him. I was like, if he's not gonna
that's why I didn't send it. As you can see, I was pretty much expecting him not to get a penalty, but he did end up getting one at the final corner, penultimate corner. So yeah, overall it was a decent race. We didn't quite get the finish that we perhaps should have or could have, but yeah, we move on to the next one. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. A huge thank you to Hypercharged for editing these videos and creating the thumbnails. I'll leave his Twitch and his Twitter link in the description, so please feel free to follow him on that. So yeah, I'll be hopefully uploading twice a week, PSGL and WR highlights. So thank you very much for watching, everyone, and I'll see you in the next one.